man, Daniel. Back at it again with the podcast with both dudes. We're back. Hi. No solo episode this week. Thought you were gonna get used to that again? You're wrong. You're always wrong. We always reunite. We come back stronger. And we came with the heat today, dude. I mean, you could probably tell from the title and the show notes, but we got into it. I know I always say that, but just look. Just take a look, okay? Kaiju No. 8. Talk about that. Mushoku Tensai. I give a quickie. All right, we don't tread the same ground all over again. Quickie review of Astronote and The Train to the End of the World, because Grant asked me to see those, and I did, because I'm a homie. Grant gives an update on Windbreaker. We get into Shogun, because you best believe we got into Shogun. Then Parasyte the Grey, the live-action Netflix adaptation. Grant's, considering his questionable character, he's into the One Piece anime, so he talks about that, and then gives a thorough review of Spy Family Code White, the movie. And then we get into some news and exciting new things happening all over the world. I think that's about it. Grant, hit the music. Oh, hey there, Grant.
Hey, Dave.
We're back, baby.
Yeah. Okay.
Together again.
I texted you minutes after I recorded solo last week. It's so hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's so hard to record solo.
If you've heard any of my solo episodes, I've always said, like, towards the end, I'm always like, because it varies, right? Like, I've done some that are like 40 minutes. I've also done a couple that are like 20. And it's like, it feels like you're stretching to get there. And I'm always like, I don't know if it's a good sign that I can fill the space for that long. Yeah. And then on the other hand, it's like sometimes you just have nothing to say. And it could be like trying to, force, what do they say? Force a square peg into a round hole or something. Yeah. I think a lot of it, too, depends on, like, the news of the week. And
sure,
like,
yeah.
I think, like, with you and I, we can bounce a lot off each other when... And that helps. But if you're alone and it's a bit of a slow week, it's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I was, I finished recording and started editing, and I saw, and I was like 20 minutes. I was like, fuck. That felt like I was there for an hour. Yeah, but no, it was fun. It was fun, and mind you, like, had I not had that article to kind of piece apart and go through, like, it would have been 10 minutes. But
yeah, I feel that. Yeah. It was good though. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. But I wasn't fishing for that there. But anyways, it is difficult. It is difficult. So kudos to you for all the ones you've done solo.
Shouts out, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you did talk about this on your episode, but it's the one thing we have not discussed, and it's probably the thing it's probably a tie, but I'm quite excited about Kaiju No. 8.
Oh, okay. I'm
really digging it.
Let's get it.
So episodes 1 and 2 are out, so there's your spoiler warning. I find it to be a fun approach. You're much more familiar with like kaiju oriented everything.
Sure.
Than I am. Like I've seen like one Godzilla movie, and it's the 90s.
2000 Matt Broderick.
Yes, Matt Broderick. Yeah, which I really like, by the way.
You know what? I rewatched that not too long ago, and I was like, I know this gets a ton of flack, but I like it. I mean, it's nostalgia for sure, but
yeah, definitely nostalgia.
Yeah,
and it's one of those movies that I think, and I think this happens a lot with the nostalgic factor. It's like I only remember like the first 2/3. You know what I mean? Like how fun it is when they discover Godzilla, his first attack or two. Like, you kind of forget about, like, the eggs and all that weird shit that happens at the end.
Like the raptor, almost like recreating Jurassic Park in the subway system. Yeah.
But I still really want to see Godzilla -1.
I really want to see that.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm aware that, like, the Godzilla franchise and, like, kaijus in general have been it's been going on a while. Last 2 decades even, it feels like in Hollywood they've done a lot.
Yeah, the Western or the second attempt at like the Western, like the Legendary Pictures stuff for sure. It's definitely kind of front loaded in everyone's minds. But no, dude, they've been going steady since like the 50s. With, like, the Toho stuff and like and there's a ton of anime adjacent stuff and a lot of manga. Specifically Godzilla, but kind of kaiju in general. Like you say that, but like one of the greatest kaiju anime of all time is Neon Genesis, right? So
yeah, totally, duh.
Yeah. So you have more experience than you realize it. Yeah, and Attack on Titan at the same time.
It's funny sometimes what falls into the kaiju category, but while you're watching it, you don't consider it a kaiju story, right? But you're right about that. So with that in mind, like I just didn't quite know what to expect. I went Zero Dark Grant on this one.
Nice.
Like I didn't see anything. I just knew you were excited about it. I looked at like I might have watched half a second of a trailer, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a go. And I really dug the pilot, but I think it was one of these shows for me that like it did a better job of like showing you what the show is going to be in the second episode, because they just had to get through the setup in the pilot, which is often the case. But yeah, I like the second more than the first, and I think I'm probably on board for the season. What about you?
Yeah, so I really like the first. I think because I've only read like the first 7 chapters, like the first volume, because that's all that's what I had gotten for Christmas, and then I knew the show was coming, so I was like, okay, I'm good with this for now. I think next week will probably be the last episode where I'm aware of what's going on.
Okay.
What they kind of teed up with this one. They've kind of covered the first 7, almost the first 7 so far. So, I'm relatively aware of what's going on now. There is like a couple of things in the second episode, like gags and jokes that were not in the manga that I, didn't expect. I wonder if they pulled that from like later down the road and kind of planted in the second one. No, I really do like it. In what I had read, I liked the monster cleanup stuff the most. I thought that was a really cool concept. I think they're like completely moving away from that, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
So I am a little disappointed with that, but I think they did a better job. So like at the end of the second episode, they introduced that character. She like kind of powers the suit up and like lifts the car. I think they did a better job in the anime explaining like that the suits are. Like they haven't like fully got into it, and I don't want to spoil that, but like just kind of like the way the suits work, it kind of came through a little more clear, and I was like, okay, I think it's gonna be like visually, I think it's gonna be fun, like as we start meeting more people,
right?
And again, I don't know all the full details, but I think it might vary from like person to person. Kind of is kind of like what I've read or kind of assessed from it. So I think we have room for like a really cool cast. Lots of eclectic characters so far already. I really love Ishikawa, and Kafka's really hilarious too. Like, dude, the 32-year-old bit kind of hits home a little bit.
I know, felt a little scene there.
Yeah, but no, I really liked it. I gotta say though, I sent you a pretty funny tweet today. I don't want Western music in my anime. Like the opening and the closing for the show is so bad, dude.
It's pretty peculiar.
Very odd choice.
Because it's One Republic, isn't it?
It's the for the ED, and
that's
then
like
Youngblood and Imagine Dragons for the opener.
Yeah. Very odd. And also, like I noticed, like they even had like a countdown on the Crunchyroll apps.
Yes.
So it's like it's getting a pretty big push, and I imagine that the soundtrack is part of that. Is this a giant, crazy successful manga?
I think it's big. Like I think it's like north of 200 chapters at this point. I believe. Like so it is big enough, right?
Yeah. It's just interesting that
I
they're
have
going
heard,
that route.
Yeah, I have heard from various people that like it kind of just turns into like another, like it starts off very, very strong and is strong for a long time. But as of late, it's kind of just like, it's just like another power fantasy. Like it's kind of like middled out a little bit.
Interesting.
I've heard that from a couple people. So nothing online either. So that is, people I know. But I don't know. Like so far, it's awesome. Like if it's good for a long time, I'm okay with that. So
yeah, we'll see. Mushoku
cool
Tensai.
Opening though. The visual. Minus the song. I don't think it's AI because I think we would have seen that online, but I think the CG representation they do of the opener, and then recreating the original like the volume 1 cover art at the end of like the kaiju, like of Kafka, I thought was really cool. Kind of bringing that to life. Excellent usage of like neon colors. I think I had said that last week, but yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna watch it each week. Like it's totally up our alley for sure.
Yeah, I have it written down here that because they obviously didn't do that intro for the pilot, and the graphics in the intro was pretty cool. And I know you said you don't love the Western songs in your anime, but I do think they kind of fit. That doesn't mean I like it, but I do think they fit the intro.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see to that. But but again, like it's not. there is a line, right? Like I found Edge Runners like perfectly rode the line of like Western, like, you know, Western and Eastern music incorporated into the show, right? But I think that was a little more on brand because, you know, like the futuristic of cyberpunk is like all, you know, it's just like a melting pot of like, you know, peoples and cultures and all that, and, you know, in like a future tech world or neo tech world or whatever. But I don't know.
I gotta play cyberpunk again.
Yeah, man. Do you ever play the DLC? Did you fire that up?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I got most
Did
of the way
Zelda?
through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in that, eh? He was the main guy, or like
Yeah,
kinda
was. He was like the Keanu, basically. I mean, like he didn't take Keanu's role. I just mean like he is a heavily involved companion.
He was the figurehead of the DLC.
Yeah.
The face. Yeah.
I don't know why. Honestly, I think I probably needed room for like the democracy game there. What is it?
Helldivers.
Which we haven't played, by the way, since I think the first time you got us on there.
Yeah. No, I know.
Where have you been?
Yeah, blind as a bat, dude.
No, I know. But I actually haven't played in a few weeks. I've got to fire that up. Dude, I installed WoW the other day.
Ah, you sick fuck.
I know. I didn't do anything with it. I was just like, I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt to have it on disc, just in case. I needed to hit the start button one day. You know, just because, you know, it's a long download, so I may as well have access to it. You know.
Yeah. You need to have StarCraft 2 just ready to go at any time.
Yeah. God, I played that.
No, yeah. Oh, we should do that, actually.
Yeah, so you did.
There you go.
All right.
Mushoku Tensei.
Mushoku Tensei. So, it's fine. I actually liked...
Yeah.
I actually liked episode 15.
That's this week's episode? Or last week's?
Yeah. No, this week.
Okay.
I think it's mostly centered around, like, the Nanahoshi arc.
Yeah,
the summoning circle stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like... You know, they toned down the cringe a little bit. There's some development with like Rudy and his sisters are on their way because Paul sent them that way.
You know, that just added like an extra 2 episodes to us at the school, right? The sisters getting there.
And then like his house is getting. I don't know. Like, I do have a feeling, and also because I remember being called out by like dozens of people on our TikTok at Part-Time Otaku Podcast while I was bitching about the first core. That like the second core is going to be so much better.
Sure.
And I believe that like, you know, slow first half, banger second half is not like, that's not an original concept to me. Like I understand. So I'm sure that it's going to pick up.
Most certainly.
I'm just curious when that is. But I will say like, you know, if you're interested in like the central theme of the show, because like the show is kind of like meandering, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you're interested in like the what's the term, isekai? Yeah, like that angle and what happens, then the Nanahoshi character is like legit important.
Yes, very important. Yeah,
and there is like a major development in that she brings back something, right? And like a water bottle. So like it's like, oh, okay, so that's like actually the most progress we've had. Or the biggest, I don't even know if you want to call it a reveal. It's one of the bigger moments in the show as far as like that stuff goes. It just doesn't feel very big, obviously.
I was going to say, it definitely felt like a moment that should have weighed a ton, but kind of like, you know, landed like a feather. You know, it was, it was just, I think it was the timing but you know what? Like, credit where credit's due. And, you know, like you had said, I really liked the bonding of the group and kind of like bringing in, you know, like he does have this good, you know, eclectic cast of people around him at the school, and they all have like their own specialties and different, you know, specific studies that they work in. And you know, I did enjoy that and like trying this and that. It was like, again, it was a lot of like, you know, just, oh yeah, like you assume like just that's just how a circle works. And it's kind of like you're just moving through it and all that. They don't really break anything down, but I don't know. I thought, again, they threw back to the doll, which I thought was interesting. Kind of like, you know, leading to, like you know, kind of like figuring out the summoning circles and getting, you know, like this whole thing working. But I'm wondering if like there's just more to like who kind of made that doll in the first place. Like I know it sounds obvious to say that out loud, but like the way they're referring back to it now, and there's more weight to who that person is, maybe. Yeah,
it's definitely a bit of a convenient plot device right now. So I have to imagine it'll pay dividends at some stage. I did also think like I'm on the same page as you in that I thought it was neat that the whole crew got involved, but I was also like, shouldn't there be like a moment between Nanahoshi and Rudy something where it's like, also like, don't tell them what we're working on, and maybe don't summon something from another reality in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, we have this major secret, and like, I know it is a secret, right? Because Sylphie asked Rudy about it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she said you're from the same place. It's like, okay, so clearly he's not willing to just divulge all that, and neither is she.
Is that for his benefit or is that for hers? Like that, I think that is something I just maybe don't remember from part 1. Did Nanahoshi kind of swear Rudius to not speak on it?
I don't know if they ever had that conversation. I just remember Sylphie just said, Nanahoshi said you're from the same place, or that you knew something about one another or something like that. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but there hasn't been like a moment where they're like, yo, we got to keep this shit under wraps. So it's just weird that they do all that well, not in public, but you know what I mean? Within plain view of all these people they may or may not be able to trust.
Sure.
Because, I don't know, like, I feel like, again, that's like one of the bigger parts of the show. So I don't know, I'm curious to see where that goes and like what angle they take on it.
I know we said the same. I think we said this at the end of part 1. And I'm never going to do it because I'm going to want to watch this week to week. But I really wish I could kind of like jump forward in time a little bit and binge this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do look forward to it. Excuse me. I do look forward to it every week. But like at this rate, this crawl that we're at, and you know, like it's not fair to compare shows, but like there are other shows that are starting this season, you know, whether it's new shows or continuing shows that are already moving at a pace. And I understand like this, you know, what it's, you know, being, you know, the adaptation from and all that. Like maybe that's the speed that it works at. It just feels like awkwardly slow at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like it feels way too slowed down.
It is funny because it's like we're just so in it that it's easy to forget that in season 2, Rudy has aged like a lot, like literally. I mean, he has physically aged. He has grown up into like a young man now. He's married. He has a home. You know what I mean? But just sometimes, like the pacing makes it feel a little slow. I also think like it's tricky to compare because you and I did have the benefit of binging the entirety of the first season after it had come out, and it was like now it feels like sometimes like we're chasing, or I'm chasing that at least. I don't speak for you about how fun it was to go like, oh shit, now this, oh shit, now that, as opposed to it taking like almost basically an entire year in real time. So I don't know, you know, we'll see, I guess. But I'm not going to miss any episodes. That's the thing.
No, for sure not. And we got our boy Ryujin back, so.
Do we?
Could be also, he showed up at the end. He shows up with the sisters. He's the one who brought the sisters back to the house.
Yes.
Again,
that wasn't post-credits, was it? I don't remember that at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was post-credits. Because there's a scene of the two sisters like banging on the door, and they're like, why isn't anyone home, and da-da-da, and then like, Rudy kind of shows up down the laneway, and they turn around, they're excited to see him, and then kind of, you know, he kind of pokes his head out, and you can see, you know, kind of just cuts to like a big old smile on Rudy's face.
No kidding. Yeah, in my notes,
man.
Episode ends with everybody celebrating, because like they're celebrating at the bar with Nanahoshi.
Oh damn, man. Yeah, there's definitely a post-credits scene.
Yo, what an L. As if. Yeah. Okay, so that's actually pretty big, Ridgewood being back.
Damn. Okay.
He's like one of my favorite characters.
I think, he was definitely definitely like top 3.
He's got to be a fan favorite too, right? All right, that's pretty dope.
Everyone loves the strong silent type. Reminds me of Reiner for some reason.
Yeah,
maybe it's because maybe it's the same voice actor.
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom through that after this. That's interesting.
Yeah, get it.
I did check out 2 of your pilots.
Okay.
What?
Nothing. I'm just not sure what's gonna happen. What you're gonna say.
Oh, no.
I've been anticipating your thoughts on this. I saw you like 2 weekends ago. You gave me the old like save it for the pod. Yeah, I watched them. I was like, okay, all right.
Oh yeah, no, dude, it's content, dude. All right, I don't want to speak to you outside of this. No, I genuinely don't have like crazy intense thoughts. I have only watched the pilot of Astronote.
Sure.
And the Train to the End of the World, because I think one or the other might actually end up being like a decent Sam show as well.
Sure.
Astronaut, I think, might be. I think it might have
for what it's worth, I am really, really enjoying Astronaut so far.
What is it up to? Episode 3, 4?
3.
Okay, so I'm not way behind. Yeah, I think Astronaut might be the one that I think it's like it might be a good balance of what Sam's into and what I'm into.
Sure, I can see that.
You know what I mean? It's just like there's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Yeah.
You had like set the stage a little bit. You're like, okay, I don't even know what happened. It wasn't that hard to follow, but it was definitely random. Like you're definitely right about that. It is kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was all over the place.
But it felt all over the place, but it felt very like complete and intentional, at the same time. Yeah.
Kind of weird. Kind of a weird pilot. But I think mostly in a positive way. Like, no, definitely in a positive way. We always talk about how hard pilots are. And like, I didn't walk away from that being like, what a waste of time, or I'm not going to watch that again, right? Which is usually like, I think right away with most shows. You're like, I'm either into this or I'm not. And I was like, okay, I think there's a future here. I just need to like find the time.
Yeah.
And the Train to the End of the World I thought was weirder, ironically.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think like two different types of weird.
Yeah. Are you watching that one week to week too?
I have been watching that week to week, yeah.
Which one are you enjoying more at this stage?
Oh, Astronaut by far.
Really, eh?
Yeah, Train to the End of the World is more like it's not like it's not like I'm like waiting. Okay, no pun intended here. It's not like I'm waiting for like a train wreck to happen, but I am watching of like expecting it to just like, go one way or the other. Yeah. I'm waiting for that like that great thing or that really awesome thing to happen, or just like it kind of just crash and burn a little bit. It like I do feel after the most recent episode, they're experimenting more with like the world around them. Like I think that you don't with the pilot alone, you can't really capture what they are trying to do with this world. They kind of set up the idea that like with the whole explosion, everything's also been like stretched and kind of transmogrified, and everything's kind of like nothing is the same, right? And almost like they're in a different, like almost like the Earth has been moved off its axis and the different, like they kind of like hint that like maybe it's like there's more moons now in the background. Also, so like what would have been like a 2-hour train ride, there's like it's 30 stops. It's probably going to take them like months, kind of thing, to get to where they need to go. So there is like a very cool sense of adventure, but it feels like every week it's just more of like it's slowly tinging into like horror light. But like it's never like fully going into one lane. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. I don't love it. Like it's not blowing me away by any means. But it is a good show. It is very beautifully animated. What they're doing with the backgrounds are like really, really, really stunning.
Interesting.
Just like going from like because they are really just like completely changing the environments. Like small spoiler. Like they go to a place where like there's like the oceans are kind of like rising and setting, or rising and lowering, and they're doing a thing where it's like night at all times, and like the stars are like really big in the sky. Like it almost looks like it's a north, like they're all north stars kind of thing.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like the story of like the 4 girls. They are slowly dissecting their group dynamic, and they're playing around with like what has happened to the other people in the world. But I think the world itself is what I'm really watching. Yeah. And it just each week it's just like, oh, this is a cool little thing they did in the background. Like it doesn't hurt to like just spend 20 minutes with it every week and to see like what they have done visually, story wise. Like I said, I'm not fully locked in, but like there's some like really cool gags like with the train and the kind of how they communicate back to the town. I thought is really interesting. They kind of go back to that gag every week, and it freaking like it. It's like it makes me laugh like very hard every time. So like it's definitely like I maybe I'm kind of selling it short a little bit. I am really enjoying it. I do look forward to every week, but it's not. I don't feel like invested as I do in Astronaut, where I'm like I just love everything about this show. Right. I don't know why, but it's kind of carte blanche. Like it's everything. Like so it's kind of yeah.
I mean that is one of the things. Like there are so many shows, anime, like just things in general that are like after an apocalyptic event. You know what I mean? But not all of them approach it in that way. Yeah. Where they're kind of breaking things. So that's interesting. Anyway.
Did you catch Windbreaker? Are you following up with Windbreaker, or do you kind of just leave that one on pause?
I think I'm going to leave that on pause. Not because I have like a major feeling about it, just because like there were, those 2 pilots I had to check out. Yeah. Mushoku's back. Kaiju, like I genuinely like. So it kind of took a back seat while I was catching up on
solo
the
leveling energy for sure.
Yeah. So wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, I find I feel like I'm putting Kaiju No.8 into the same category of Solo Leveling. Of like I'm literally just shutting my brain off to like I am going to be watching this every Saturday.
Yes,
and,
yes,
you know,
yes.
like it kind of falls into this funny enough the same time slot, and just kind of like it's not like I'm just going to be watching that Sunday, you know, like the following day kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So like, you know, like there's like anime Saturdays and Sundays sometimes where you just catch up on a bunch of shit. So I won't be surprised if I throw on an episode of Windbreaker. But I really gotta fucking wrap up on Shangri-La Frontier.
Yeah.
Because like I think I just tuned out after the Weathermon fight. I watched one or two after that, but there's only got to be a couple more episodes left to go, right?
Yeah, it's very like it's funny. It was one of the things I was kind of looking forward to the most. And like you clear the boss, and like what's the loot? There's a lot of like let's assess the loot situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Which they're funny in their own way, but yeah, like all the major stuff is kind of behind you now. But
So
I will say on Windbreaker, I am caught up. As they introduce the rest of the cast, I think there's like a huge improvement. And also we were worried, and again, I'm not trying to like excite you like to watch it, but I know both you and I had the worry of like, is this just going to be, every week of like, oh, I'm sad boy, I'm like this for a reason, I don't want to get along with everybody. They've definitely toned that down to like 20% of him, and it's more of like we're already at the point where he's like, for an example, again, minor spoiler, but like there's a moment in the third episode where he kind of has a realization of like, oh my god, like I've been in this town for like a week, and I've never had more physical contact in my life, and like how everyone here is like that, and it's not like taken like and it's not like immediately kind of like thrown away of like, well, that can't be right, like I can't trust anybody. It is like kind of like legit, like he is thinking on like, oh, like these people are really close, like like this is normal for them, and maybe it could be normal for me, kind of thing. So like there is very early character progression. They're not, I can already tell they're not dragging this out for like the whole 12 episodes to like at the very end we're like, I am loved, like I was looking at it the wrong way or anything. But so I found once his attitude kind of changed a little bit, and they're already getting into like the other gangs, and he's meeting like his classmates, and he's got his crew, and he already there's like a really cool, because he's like kind of a Bakugo, and they introduce like a bigger Bakugo, like a silent Bakugo, as like his like immediate, like not, I guess, rival. Like they're they're in the same grade, they're both like vying for like a similar, where he's vying for the top spot and this guy like worships the top spot. It's a very funny dynamic that they introduce in the second episode, and it kind of continues into the third, and you can tell like these these boys are going to be tight. The two of them specifically are clearly going to be very tight. So I am actually really enjoying it.
Okay.
It's it definitely, I do like, I was talking to Big Talk about Buchigiri the other week, which I love, and it is still one of my favorite shows of the year so far. But like they didn't really focus in. I think there was too much of a cast where he, like, the main character was kind of hopping around from group to group, and you can never really get to know anyone super well other than like a couple characters. Whereas this, I'm like, I feel like by the end of the season I'm gonna know this crew like really well, and similar to like where Tokyo Revengers kind of like they almost got there with some of the characters. You're like, you and I were like, well, fucking like Draken's kind of cool, like he's like the guy, like the lieutenant character or whatever.
Yeah,
you are getting that like right off, very early on, and they are doing a good job. Kind of like everyone, they're not like super archetypal. Like they kind of do have a little bit of originality to them. They're not just like one note kind of crew members. But I don't know. I think it's really fun. It's okay. They did a huge improvement, because I think that was the biggest thing holding it back, was the main character like being broody and like no one will understand me kind of thing. Yeah. They're already kind of moving away from that.
So it sounds like you like it more now than you did after the pilot.
Big time.
Like it's grown
Big
on
time.
you. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I
think that's actually pretty good to hear then.
Yeah. But by the end of the third episode, I think the way they set up like an antagonist group, and how like then they're already like kind of, they do a good job of like this. It is a strange concept where like they are like a group of delinquents that protect the town, and they kind of spend a whole episode explaining on like, this is what we really do in the town. Like it's not just about fighting this and fighting that, but like when it comes to it, like we are going to throw down kind of thing. I don't know. It was they did some very subtle world building stuff that easily could have like been way overhanded or too underhanded. just they hit like a very fine line that doesn't kind of disrupt the flow of the show.
Is the choreography still good?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Tight. All right, well, there you go. Maybe it shot up a little bit there on my priority list.
Yeah, there's a really cool fight in a classroom, like a very tight space, and they do a good job of like, kind of fighting within that small area. And I think that's just like the benefit of good choreography. Like it can kind of use your space the way, you would in a fight, I guess. But no, it's
interesting.
Yeah, I think whenever you do get back to it, maybe a few more episodes are kind of available. I would be surprised if you didn't enjoy it. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe this weekend then. Okay, quick pivot.
Yep.
Live action stuff.
Yeah.
Shogun.
Oh, you finally jumped in?
Finally, yeah. We had some time last week, and then or it might have been the week before. I've had it on my list to talk about a little bit, and we just have been so busy with everything going on. Every evening, I'm like, do we have time? It's like, no, we don't have time. So tonight, I think we're gonna watch episode 3. Nice.
I still have only seen the first.
Okay, so...
Or 2, sorry. I've seen the first 2.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to say, I think I liked episode 2 more than episode 1, but it has all the pieces of, a really, really good show.
Yeah, it just ended, I think, this week.
Yeah, so what, there's
just aired 10.
8, 10, okay, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not that behind. But yeah, man, I don't know, it has, all the pieces. It has... I heard someone describe it as samurai Game of Thrones. That's a little bit oversimplifying it, but it's also if you had to give it someone a pitch in 4 or 5 words, it's all right, I think that would probably do it.
I think historical grand scale, or not grand, you would call Game of Thrones grand fantasy. I think
sure, yeah.
You would just maybe like grand medieval setting or whatever. It is kind of nice to have or fantasy element to a show like this. I'm glad they're just keeping it very as close as they can to how it's made.
I really
or how it was rather.
Yeah, I'm really I did not, because I went into this relatively cold, so I did not. I was really curious about what was the conflict going to be about, and then all this awesome, interesting stuff came up about religion being at the center of a lot of these conflicts, and I was like, oh, are we going into that?
Yeah,
because I remember, I can't remember if they gave you the year that it happens in Japan. I don't remember if they list the year.
Is it the 16th century?
That sounds right, but I genuinely can't remember for sure. But anyway, Shogun shows so much promise. I think time permitting, which is the biggest thing that you'll know all about right now, is so it's time permitting, we'll watch an episode per night that we're free. And that's going to translate into I will have watched 2 more episodes in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But I really want to prioritize it. It's really, it's probably the highest on my list. And then if Sam's not free, there's this other thing that's high on my list.
Okay. What do we got?
I know I'm stealing the mic here. Just bear with me.
No.
I actually filmed a quick TikTok for this one at Part-Time Otaku Podcast on TikTok. We're there. And on Instagram as well. As you know, I really dug the anime Parasyte, the Maxim.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
so
I'm watching this.
Are you?
I will be watching this.
Oh, okay, okay.
I told Leanne, I was like, we are watching. It's only 6 episodes. We are watching this weekend.
So, okay. So, all right. I'm just going to tell you a couple things you probably know, but the audience, I bet, does not.
Okay.
Number one, this is not your basic anime to live action adaptation.
Sure.
It's not that whatsoever. It's, it's South Korean made. It's made by I think it's Sung Yang Ho. God, I had to say his name so many fucking times today, and of course I forget it. But it's the dude who directed Train to Busan.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, dude. So South Korean production company, actors, the language in the show is Korean.
Have you seen Train to Busan?
No, I actually I know.
David.
I know.
Yeah,
it's high on my list.
One of the best. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to get into it.
Believe me, I know. There's a lot of hype about it. I got to get to it. But the point about Parasyte, The Grey is the show name on Netflix. They're an hour long, 6 episodes, like you said. But it's not like a 1-to-1 remake. And sometimes what you get from live action people, like the creators or showrunners, oh, it's not a 1-to-1 remake. We want to tell our own version. And then what they end up doing is like making a bastardized version of the anime. And then when people complain that it's not the same, they're like, well, it was never really our objective to tell the same story. It's like, yeah, but you told 90% of it, but you managed to fuck it up. Like, that's mostly what happens. This is relatively different in that this is the same premise within the same universe and the same rules, but with like a different main character, a different set of circumstances, albeit similar, and some similar story beats. But like other than that, it's like I feel like they changed, and I'm only one episode in, but I feel like in that episode they changed just enough to be like, we are like, and I know this sounds like fucking like something you would hear in an interview from like a showrunner, but I really think they've managed to keep the spirit of the idea and of like the IP, but they changed just enough to be like, we're also doing our own thing. But so far it really, really works. And I gotta say, like, you know, CG is such a mixed bag, especially on Netflix. Like, you just don't know what's gonna get budget, what's not. Is this gonna end up looking like you know, one of the many, like, you know, looking cheap, or is this gonna look good? And at least in the pilot, they really pull up the CG, because, like, you know, if you've seen like even just the trailer or the like the poster,
very grotesque.
Yeah, like there's clearly special effects and gore involved, so it's like you have to pull that off because it's an important part of the story. And at least in the first episode, they do. So I'm like really, really, really excited about it. And I showed Sam and I was like, "What do you think?" She's like, "This looks frightening. I'm not watching this." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, that's fair."
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and talk Leanne out of like giving One Piece a break for a night and watching an episode of this.
One Piece, the anime or the live action?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Oh, is it bad?
No, we're so in it. Like,
no, I mean, like you guys have it bad. The bugs got you.
Yeah, like it's full blown like virus. Like it's in us for until we're done. We are enjoying it. It is fun to like.
What happened to us? No,
we stared at podcast.
How deep are you?
Episodes? I think we're 28 in. And still in the first season, I guess, technically. But it's weird. It's weird how they break it down on Crunchyroll. I'm not sure if it's like normal that way or if they kind of just package the different arcs together. I think it's technically like the East Blue arc all together. It's like 60 episodes, I think.
Okay.
But yeah. No, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, actually. Like after having read all this stuff, like I'm well past this.
Oh right,
in the manga.
You have a sickness. You're a weird person.
I know.
You're a weird fella.
That was the thing too, like, you know, I remember when I was reading the manga, when I had started reading the manga, like every night I was like, "Hey, Leanne, I want to watch One Piece," and she'd just like look over, and she'd be like, "You're sick." Like, no, we're not. And then we watched the live action, and I saw the, you know, maybe like 3 episodes in, I saw the switch flip for her, and we hammered through it, and she was like, "We should probably start watching the anime." I was like, "Oh well, now the tables have turned." Like, you know, look who's asking to watch One Piece now. But yeah, no. It is funny because we're watching this and like the Wit Studio one. Who knows when that's coming up for Netflix? Kind of like that semi remake of
Peculiar.
The original
anime. I remember that.
But speaking of Wit Studio, me and the family went and saw Spy Family Code White last night.
Oh shit, that's out, and it's out near us.
It is out, yeah.
How was it?
Dude, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun. Definitely, I think it's out for another week around here. We had to travel for it. Not a great theater experience, but I won't really get into that. That's an off-mic thing for you and I, because I'll gripe about that forever.
All right.
But yeah, no, dude, it was a ton of fun. I will say, I found the first third to be like a lot of, hey, this is the show, these are the characters, and then they kind of they do like this. It's probably like my least favorite thing they do with Yor specifically as a character.
Okay,
they've like kind of like the dumb, like the aloof airhead,
right?
You know, female character. Like I understand it's a thing. But they Yor is like clearly like a very like smart and talented person. It's just like, it's sometimes like the conceit of like no one knows each other's secret, I think kind of fails them sometimes.
Man, that's still going on.
Oh, dude, because
I didn't watch any of season 2, right?
Yeah, well, it's for sure. Like, it's still a thing, and from what I've heard from Leanna, like, it's still like
it's a permanent thing.
I'm sure one day like they'll finally break the case on that, and like, they'll be like a whole story around it. But so like kind of getting to where the plot starts picking up, and they go essentially because like Spy Family it's like a kind of like a German type feeling city, like a middle Europe kind of feel. They go to like there's like a family road trip. They go to like what I think is like a take on Switzerland, almost like a neutral north kind of thing.
Okay.
And Dave, again, comedy wise, they crush like there are some gags. They use Anya so fucking effectively in this movie, dude. It is surreal to see like just Anya on the big screen making that freaking smug face. It was worth the price of admission alone.
I forgot how sweet like, that character is.
It is never not funny. But again, like when the final third kicks off, like there's probably like a 30 plus minute action set piece.
Oh wow.
That is Dave. Holy fuck. I am so glad we got to experience that on a big screen.
That's
it
pretty
was
cool, yeah.
Tremendous. Like, so again, I don't know if you're going to see or whatnot. I'm just going to say, Wit Studio was doing their thing.
Oh, cool.
Yor has, in this whole this big 30-minute section, for like maybe about half of that, she has essentially like a boss battle fight with like basically straight out of like a Resident Evil game, like just like this surreal mech man monster.
Okay.
And like everything is on fire around her, and they recreated like the classic shot in Attack on Titan season 1 with Mikasa, like the slam down. The one like where she does the spin and kind of like comes like slamming down on a Titan like at the neck. It's
in
like
season 1?
In season 1, I think it's in the OP, and like there's a point in the season where she does that in like towards the end of the season.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
They recreated that with Yor, dude. Unreal. Like it was.
Oh, I saw something. I saw an image about that. I think you're not thinking of Levi by chance, are you?
No, because I think Mikasa has a shot like that too.
Okay.
Maybe because I'm just. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure like Levi has something similar. But
that's
the
funny.
guy that
I saw something going around. I thought that was like a fan made, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if worlds collided? Okay,
crushed. I'm sure a ton of key people that were involved in Attack on Titan were involved in this entire Yor set piece. It was, Dave. It was to die for. It was like you don't get action that good. It kind of made me feel sad. Like you don't always get movies like this very often, right? Like, we have like Jujutsu Kaisen and Mugen Train and, a couple other ones here and there. And like Spy Family can look very good. Like when they do big set, semi big set pieces in the show, they will show off the animation, they will show off their chops. But this was like probably 40 minutes of like straight balls to the walls. Like Lloyd has an incredible freaking fight set piece. There's this scene where Anya goes into like a serene moment. I won't spoil it because it is fucking hilarious. But there's a moment where she goes into like an imaginary world to like kind of level herself, like kind of like get herself like more or less to like remain like in a stasis. I know that sounds weird. If you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like there was 9 of us in the theater. Like it was Corinne, myself, or Corinne, Leanna, myself, and like 2 other. I guess to be quick math, there was 7 of us, and all 7 of us in the theater were just laughing hysterically at like this random like, and it just wouldn't stop. It was like 5 minutes straight of totally different animation style, just like, and that felt like the Cloverworks side of things. Like they're cool. Kind of their, it was, dude, it was so good. Like I think it takes place between season 1 and 2 is what I read.
Okay.
Dave, I'm not saying you should go to the theater.
Between 1 and 2.
Between 1 and 2.
Because if it's between 1 and 2, then I could just watch an S1 recap.
100%. But that's the thing too. Like it has nothing to do with like the ongoing story. It's like a total side thing. The whole premise is they're apparently going to end Operation Strix.
Okay.
And they're going to give it to some other guy. And there's like a cooking contest at school. There's a cooking class, and there's a chance they can get Anya can get a Stella if she can kind of win like the cooking challenge. And Lloyd has all the information on the judge, and it's the principal, and he's from this region where they end up going to, and there's this dessert that he really likes. So like, oh, let's just go to this place, figure out how it's made, get a taste for it, the flavor profiles, then we'll come back and we'll recreate it, and you can like get the Stella. and that's just the whole like the conceit of like why they're there, and and just there's like a something happens on the train that leads to like the military being involved and chasing after them. It's Dave. It is very good. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like I said, it is kind of slow getting there, and there's like they take like 20 minutes for to kind of go back into the whole like yours like, oh, like, am I being a good enough wife, and is Lloyd gonna divorce me, and like it's like there's some stuff I didn't love about it, but as a whole, like, the family had a really good time. Animation wise, it was awesome, and funny. We were laughing so much. Like, it's funny how the whole, and I'll give you the mic there in a moment, but
no worries.
It's just the things that sometimes don't work for them. Like, everyone has their secret, and like no one is kind of there's always like these gags and mix-ups on the situation. Sometimes it can be a little too much, and then within 10 minutes they're kind of using the same premise of no one really knows what's going on. It's just kind of bumbling along the way, and it's it's amazing. Like, it's like fireworks. It works so well. Like, it's just a stunning comedic set piece. But I don't know. It's Spy Family is such a it's such a conflicted beast for me.
Why?
Like because like, I do really like the show, and it's a fun show. I think I like it more because the family likes it. We all watch it together.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and we all do laugh. But like, I do want so much more out of it. And this movie, that ending set piece is like, holy cow, Spy Family could be truly extravagant and like awesome, which it is. Like, I think it is a good show. But if I could get like more of those like every other year in a movie, I'd be more than okay with it. Like, because it technically, I think it is canon. It wasn't in the manga. This is an original story. I think it is fitted into the timeline. But like, it makes me want to go like, why we should go like watch those My Hero movies, because apparently there's like really they have nothing to do with the story, but there is like great set pieces associated to them, right? Like these unique fights, and like, I don't know, I think there's just like a realm of like anime movies specifically to like existing franchises that I think are kind of like a missed opportunity for you and I. Maybe they're just sitting there, like, they don't have to be a part of the story to enjoy them. Like, I think we like all the Dragon Ball stuff. Like, I know some of that stuff technically doesn't, part of the story, quotations or whatever, but
there's plenty
people
of
still really
movies.
enjoy them, right? And so I don't know. It was, like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. The last like 40 minutes was incredible. Like, to see on a big screen, and just the audio, it was awesome.
What kind of runtime roughly?
Hour 40.
Oh, nice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was way long. And Leanna told me how long it was, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh shit, I assumed this was gonna be like in and out hour 20.
Yeah.
But I think it was like hour 40, hour 45.
Okay, man, I haven't thought about Spy Family in a while. That might be a good little watch.
It is a good watch.
Things up,
Season 2. I think when we watched it, because season 2 is shorter. It's only 12 episodes. But I did like. I think I like season 2 more than 1.
Really? Okay. Well, that's a good. That's a solid endorsement.
Yeah.
Okay. So all in all, it sounds like you're pretty happy with the movie.
Dude, it was awesome. It was just such a fun night out. Like, Corinne was like, "We're going to see a movie on a school night." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Like, let's go." We drove out of town to go see it, and it was a lot of fun.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah, there's the one thing I will say again. I'll grab it here for a moment. There was like a water stain on the screen.
Oh my god.
So like, I could the whole movie.
Oh, once you see that,
see it.
Yeah, you're not unseeing it.
Of course, I clocked it immediately, and I'm like, well, okay, that's my night now.
Yeah.
Like, but it was.
Damn, dude.
It was a lot of fun. Corinne loved it. Leanna loved it.
Good.
It was like going out to a movie with you. You get out. We talked about the movie for like 30 minutes after we saw it. Our favorite scenes and what made us laugh the most, and if we saw it again, what would we like look forward to the most? And it was a really fun night.
That does sound interesting. Maybe I'll try and take that for a little spinneroo.
Also, I don't know why it's called Code White. Actually, if there's like one thing, I was expecting them to say Code White at some point.
Maybe a throwaway line or something somewhere. I don't know.
Not that I caught. Yeah, there was like, well, the villain that Yor fights, like, they kind of just introduced like this kind of heavy out of nowhere for no explanation whatsoever, but like he's just a part of the military. His name was Code F.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, all right. I was like, no. Anyway, it was fun, but no, it was fun.
Okay. All right, well, I think maybe I'll tune into that if I get a chance. I don't have a ton of other anime, but there are a couple pieces of news I think we should briefly touch on.
Let's hit it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Number one. Because it's coming up, dude. Man, the passage of time. Dude, Demon Slayer's around the corner.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It's going to be May, like a week. What is it, May 4th or something? May not be May 4th. It's early May, though, right?
May 12th.
Oh, okay, mid-May. So it's a couple weeks. One thing is, it is only 8 episodes. That was confirmed.
Oh.
And the chatter that I'm seeing is that that is way too long for the arc that they have named it after.
Interesting.
So there are a lot of theories. I have no like actual insight, but the theories that I'm seeing from people, which I feel like are spoiler less, are either it's going to be like packed to the gills with filler, or like anime original content, which is fun, which they can do, or it's going to like lead into, or it's going to the next and final arc. But then if that's the case, then 8 episodes is obviously way too short. So like maybe they're priming you for like, a good lead in to the final arc and then a movie, or a good lead into the final arc, then a break and a final season. Who knows?
At this point where I'm at with Demon Slayer, I think they need to not shake it up, because like again, I didn't hate season 3, but it definitely felt like a stumble. You know what I mean? Again, but I think that could be the source material.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But so, I think a movie would be like a really good way to like cap it off. And like, do you remember us? Remember when we fucking ruled? In season 1 and 2, like, and Mugen Train. I think a movie would be really kind of way to seal off their legacy.
I agree. I think it really depends on the length of the final arc, right? Because I've also seen people be like, oh, they could do 3 movies for the final arc. It's like, well, I don't know if that's the way to go.
Well, yeah, I don't like that.
So it's like, I mean, this is forever like the anime adaptation issue, right? Is like the pacing. How is this going to work exactly? Mm-hmm. But I guess we'll see. I am excited to have it back. I don't know why it's been in my algorithm as of late. But like I've just been seeing, but also, there's some like really fun, cool scenes in season 3. Forget how much happened. I think that's what was like the weird thing is like a lot of things happened in season 3. It just felt a little anticlimactic in the execution, a little sloppy here and there. But I don't know. But, we'll see.
It did end strong, I will say. That last episode was quite good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I sent you this, and I don't know I can't remember if you talked about it last week, but Tarantino scrapped his movie. The movie critic.
I didn't talk about it, but I did see that.
Yeah, interesting. Because it sounds like it was kind of mutating on him. Like he was going to bring back Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth at one point.
Yeah.
So just based off that, it kind of sounds right. But that also means like he's going to do something. Yeah. He said back to the drawing board. That could mean he's still going to pursue something akin to what this was going to be, or it could be completely new.
I don't know why he has this whole like 10 movie thing. Like,
I love it. I love it.
I don't. He's so young, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to say. I will say I do think Tarantino is on a similar wavelength, to Scorsese or any of these guys. Like, there's no reason to just like keep making movies. Like an okay Tarantino movie is probably better than majority of the stuff that's out there. Like,
but if you're him, do you want to have a bunch of movies that are okay in your repertoire? Or do you want to be like, dude, that guy put out bangers only and then walked off into the sunset like a fucking gangster?
I think Hollywood people are too high on their own supply, and I think he is like one of the worst offenders of that.
Yeah.
I think it's part of his charm and character, but like I think I don't think he's capable of making something bad, like truly bad. Whereas people like I just don't know. Like I don't know.
But again, I don't think he looks at it as I'm afraid to make bad things so much as he looks at it as I only want to make great things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's do you want to end up like fucking... And I'm not dunking on him, but like, do you want to go the De Niro route where it's like first you were in Goodfellas and then you were in Old Dads? Or Dirty Grandpa, rather?
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like, you run that risk, and that's, like, the problem. It's, like, I don't think you know...
That's a solo endeavor versus, like, like, the captain of the ship, though. I think, I get what you're saying, but I do think when you get down to, like, the brass tacks, I think it's a little disingenuous to, like, what he is doing versus, like, what De Niro has always kind of done. Like
Spielberg. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, so all these guys have gone for so long.
Spielberg would be a fair comparison. I see that.
You know what I mean? Where they have classics on their resume, and then they have like, ooh, let's pretend that one didn't happen.
War Horse. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think like by
I see what you're saying.
Making it a finite list, he's communicating very clearly. He wants quality.
I am being the selfish one because I just want more Tarantino, and I think he also takes way too much time between movies. But
that said, he has been clear that like, he's going to continue like creative pursuits. It's not like he's gonna like retire. It's like he's gonna do plays and write books and novelizations and shit like that. He just doesn't.
I got the novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Christmas a couple years ago.
How was that?
Very, very good.
They really shocked me one bit.
They because he wrote it. It's not like he hired someone else to do it. Like it's he wrote it, and they really kind of extrapolate the Cliff Booth thing quite a bit. And it's very interesting what they do with like Brad Pitt's character, kind of in the book. But I can lend it to you if you want.
I'm curious to see what he does. But I also like firmly believe. I mean, I don't know what I really believe, but I wouldn't. I'll say it this way: I would also not be shocked if he broke his own rule. And later, 100%. You know, in a maybe not in a year or 2 or 5, but like a decade later, he's like, all right, fuck this, like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm coming back. There's been something, I can't get this idea out of my head. Like, these creative types, like, when an idea captures your imagination sometimes, it's like, I think, like, sometimes you just got to make it. And he strikes me as one of those guys, one of those people. So, who knows?
Yeah. A little bit of a sidebar, just while, like, it's in my memory. We were talking about Shogun earlier and the whole religious aspect, and you weren't expecting that. Have you ever seen Marty's Silence? Martin Scorsese?
Oh, with Andrew Garfield?
Not Andrew Scott. Andrew Garfield and
yes, long time ago, but yes.
So that the whole premise of that is like Shogun is like the Portuguese have a hold as like the only people in Japan, right? Like, you know, the whole point of Silence is when the Portuguese are trying to slowly infiltrate their way into Japan. So it takes place like 100 or maybe 200 years prior to where Shogun kind of takes place.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to see like them trying to get their foothold in the country and all that, and then to see Shogun now where they do have a foothold, and everyone else is kind of, you know, it's, I don't know, it's a very good movie. I really like that movie.
Man, I was so sure you're gonna connect that to Tarantino somehow. I was like, here, it's coming any minute now.
Oh no, we were just talking about
Shogun. Yeah.
Shogun. Really
no, that's a good point. I should rewatch that shit.
Very good.
Garfield was on a tear back then. He hasn't. Oh no, I guess he did that like Tick Tick Boom movie, but even then, that was like quite a few years ago. I wonder what he's up to. I got one more, and then I don't know if you have anything, but I have a feeling you have not seen it, but I could be wrong. The Deadpool and Wolverine trailer dropped.
No, sir. I'm going in.
Of course.
Dark.
So there's this, and there's something else recently that came out, and you and I were like, this will be the first MCU movie I watched in a long time. Is it Deadpool, or was there something else?
No, it is Deadpool.
It is Deadpool. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it looks pretty interesting, and
I'm seeing that with you, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm very excited.
Really
it's a Red Band trailer, just for the record.
Oh, interesting.
Like, a lot of F-bombs dropped in that, and a lot of interesting fourth wall breaks, and, like, they're very clearly fully integrating themselves within the MCU without...
Have you seen that they are no longer calling this Deadpool 3?
Yeah,
they have moved away from that.
It's straight up Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah. So, like, I think there was a comment saying, like, there will be a Deadpool 3, but this is not. Yeah. Weird. Which I found to be very interesting.
Okay, that I had not heard. That is interesting to me. But yeah, because like it's very like, you know, just based off the trailer, the posters, even like the font, like just all the visual representation of the movie is like very clearly like almost like a buddy cop. Yeah. Well, I don't want to say buddy cop. Like it's co-starring is kind of how they seem to be pitching it, as opposed to like the second one was kind of like Deadpool featuring Cable. Sure. But I like, yeah, I mean, that could mean anything, right? Like Marvel, one thing you got to give it up to them for is like they have misrepresented things intentionally so many times through trailers. that like you don't know. Like all this footage I've seen in the trailer could easily be in the first 10 minutes. Like, remember they did that I think with Infinity War. It's like, oh shit, and then like they even had like a couple shots in the trailer that weren't even in the movie. So who knows how that goes? But I totally agree. We should see that one together.
Fuck yeah!
All right, dude, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got. I will say one random thing.
Yeah.
Like the Planet of the Apes movies. So they're making
the Matt Reeves ones.
Well, yeah. So they're doing a new trilogy.
Man, did you hear
Matt Reeves?
Sorry, you go.
Well, anyway, like I did see the first trailer because I love those movies. I've always loved the Planet of the Apes movies, even the older ones.
Yeah.
Not all of them have aged well, but anyways, the first trailer I saw, I was like, ooh, okay, like, maybe without Matt Reeves. The trailer I saw last night, also like a horrible trailer selection for like a G-rated movie. Like, Corinne watched the Bad Boys trailer last night, which I thought was just like a very weird like parent moment of like, yeah, my daughter knows what Bad Boys is, but anyway. But anyways, the new kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, or whatever they're calling this one, looked really cool compared to the first trailer they put out. I'm actually very excited again. I've kind of like re-upped my energy for this new Planet of the Apes movie. But,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And did you hear that they're pushing out that Matt Reeves Batman movie like a year?
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Is that Penguin show still coming out? Is he involved with that? With
I know.
Yeah,
Colin Farrell.
His own show. Yeah.
Yeah, that show is still happening. I just can't remember if Matt Reeves is at all involved. I'm mixing it up between obviously, James Gunn did Peacemaker himself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if Matt Reeves is behind that or if it was like all his job was like, hey, set up the Penguin. Yeah. On the big screen so that we can run through them on the small screen. I've heard Colin Farrell say he's very excited about the reception because it's very fun to make. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Interesting.
Okay, I think that about does it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Feels good to be back. Mm-hmm. We'll be back here next week at the same time. Subscribe to the podcast, obviously Spotify, Apple Music, and also the socials. Instagram at Part-Time Otaku Podcast and the TikTok. We are there as well. Despite you Americans may not having access to it for very much longer, but more on that another time. Thank you again for listening. We'll be back next week. Grant, go ahead, say the thing.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.